What's up, everybody? You're very, very welcome along to this Villarreal Champions League semi-final preview. I do love reading the comments before I start. I want to say thank you to our mods who always have my back saying there might be a technical issue or, nah, just me being late. Sorry, it's just me being late. I'm awful. I'm awful. I'm an awful man. I'm never on time, but I do apologise. I'll continue to apologise. I think that works. You guys know to expect me to be late and, I'm going to apologise. But, yeah, apologies. I was shaving my head, and I'm not even joking. I was shaving my... Actually, look, I'll be honest with you. I was shaving my head and dancing around the bathroom to Eye of the Tiger. That's pretty much exactly what happened. Yeah, so look, we'll go through it. We'll have a little chat around Villarreal. We'll have a chat around the predicted 11 and stuff as well. And, I'm glad there's no cameras in the bathroom for me dancing around to Eye of the Tiger in there like I'm about to go in prime Rocky. Yeah, so it's just me being late again. Apologies. Right, I've a load to get through. I don't want to go too much into the Everton game because I want to save that for tonight where I'll be talking with Chris. But one thing I do want to say about it is, and I'm sure that you guys have probably seen this on social media and stuff since the game, the behaviour of some of the Everton fans and the way that they left Anfield, smashing screens, breaking up toilets. I believe there was somebody stabbed in Stanley Park. Now, I don't know if that's related to the game or not, or who it is or who it isn't, but all of these type of things are things that we don't want to be hearing or seeing around the game of football. You know what I mean? You go to the game of football, whether you go with your mates, whether you go with your family, whether you go with your kids, whatever it is, and you want to just enjoy the game. You want to get there safely to and from, and most importantly, you want to get home to your family safe and sound. So, to the Everton fans that broke up the bathrooms in Anfield, smashed the screens and the monitors, I think hopefully you've seen now why so many of us Liverpool fans have changed our opinions. Contrast what happened yesterday to the situation at Burnley, and I was somebody who wanted Burnley down for the style of football for a long time, but I tell you what, folks, my mind has changed. I'm fully Team Burnley in this relegation fight now because I see their fans getting behind the team, giving them a team spirit, giving them an atmosphere, a pride to be a Premier League club and a pride in their city and their town. And it's changed my opinion massively, contrasted to what we've seen from those Everton fans yesterday who acted like animals at Anfield. Not all of them, but enough of them that I feel like I have a valid point to raise. So yeah, I hope they get relegated. That's what they deserve. They deserve nothing but misery because they're not a great bunch. They aren't. And look, I'm going to get pelters from Everton fans saying, fuck you, sitting over in Ireland, or all the usual stuff that I get anyway. But ultimately, slag me off all you want. I've never in my life gone to a sporting event and ripped up a bathroom or smashed a monitor. So, yeah, be better. Be better. But maybe you'll have time to learn down in the Championship where the behaviour and the style of football that we seen at Anfield yesterday from Everton is what it deserves anyway. So, yeah, sad. Right, now, let's move ahead and have a look at Villarreal. And this game coming up, obviously, first leg at Anfield, second leg at the Madrigal in a week, 6 days' time. It's a game we should be looking to win. It's a game where we should be going into it confidently. But it's no accident that Villarreal are in the Champions League semi-final. They didn't just get handed the pathway through. They beat Juventus and Turin. They went over and they disposed of other teams in their grounds as well. Most notably, obviously, Bayern Munich in the quarter-final. So we've got to be on our guard and we've got to expect a dogged, well-drilled Villarreal team. And I'm hoping that we don't have similar issues to the issues that we've had against teams who've defended deeply against us in the past. I do think Villarreal be a little bit more pragmatic perhaps than Atletico Madrid or the Everton that we've seen. And, they have genuine counter-attacking pace that they plan to use and they plan to punish us with if we're sloppy in possession or if we play aimless balls into the box. So, yeah, from that one, we gotta be careful, but I still think we should go into the game confident. And I'll take you through my preferred 11. I don't want to call it a predicted 11 because it's my 11. It's the 11 that I'd like to see take to the pitch. So with that in mind, let's just swap up scenes and we'll go through it and see how you're all feeling about it. Right, firstly, I make sure my microphone's working, which it is. There we go. Oh, sorry, folks. I'm trying to drag something on my end. There we go. Right, so I'm going to go through first with a score prediction, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0. That's my score prediction. I think it's going to be a difficult 2-0, by the way. I think we might have to wait until the hour mark to get the breakthrough. But I think 2-0 is a fair scoreline to take to the Madrigal. So yeah, 2-0 is my score prediction. Our clean sheets lately have been fantastic. I think, if I'm not mistaken now, I think Alisson has moved one clear of Ederson in the Golden Glove with the latest clean sheet against Everton. So let's have a look then at the goalkeeper and the centre-backs. So look, I'm bringing in Ibrahim Kanade for this game, just to freshen it up a little bit. Again, Matip, absolutely sound, quality defender. But Klopp seems to like going with Kanade in Europe. And with the pace that Villarreal have on the counter with Danjuma, I think maybe he's the right one to go alongside Van Dijk. Now, the full-backs is where you're going to get a bit of a surprise. Costa Simicas for me at left-back, and Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. Now, this has nothing to do with Andy Robertson. This isn't because Andy Robertson hasn't played well. Andy Robertson's brilliant. I was as happy as anybody that he scored that goal yesterday in front of the Kop. But I've said it before the game, and I'll say it again. I think Costa Simicas' attributes are more suited to this game against Villarreal than Andy Robertson's are. And this, people might have a go at me about this, but this is why we have two quality left backs. This is why we brought somebody in to push Robbo all the way. Because sometimes, as I always say, it's horses for courses. Like I said with Steven Gerrard, with Jordan Henderson against Manchester City, didn't think it was the right game for him. I don't think this is the right game for Robbo. I think away from home, Robbo, tonight or tomorrow night or Wednesday night or whatever night we're playing, Wednesday night, I'm not awake yet, Wednesday night, I think this is where I'd go with Costas. And Trent on the right hand side. In midfield, there you go, Fabinho, Thiago and Jordan Henderson. Again, you might be expecting me to go with Naby here, but exactly the same reason I'm going to give you. I think Henderson's attributes will play well against this Villarreal team. I actually thought that we looked better when Henderson came on, and of course when Luis Diaz came on against Everton. So I'd play the captain in this one. Fabinho in the holding role, Thiago in the 6. Thiago will have played against Villarreal many years ago, but he will understand the style of the way they're going to come to play. And look, this is why we signed Thiago. Champions League semi-finals, you want Thiago on the pitch. So for me, Fabinho, Thiago and Henderson in midfield. Up top, Luis Diaz has to start on the left. I mean, look, every game between now and the end of the season, you're going to hear me saying Luis Diaz has to start. Because, quite frankly, Luis Diaz has to start because he's been unbelievable since he came into the team. Mohamed Salah, of course, on the right hand side, and the only question then is who goes through the centre. Well, it's got to be Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane is a goal scoring machine in Champions League football, particularly in Champions League knockout stages. I think he's right up there with Cristiano Ronaldo and some other greats in having scored the most knockout goals in Champions League football, or since the last few years at least. Sadio Mane's record's phenomenal. So Sadio Mane to the centre, Diaz on the left and Mohamed Salah on the right. That's it for me. That's the team that does the job at home. And can I just say, I said it yesterday in my player ratings video and I want to reiterate it again. I'm so happy we got that Divock Origi moment yesterday. Now look, I'm not a hypocrite. I will say that I openly said 2 seasons ago that Origi was absolutely awful, because he was. That season, he was terrible. He looked disinterested. But this season, we've started to see little glimpses from Divock again that he's, I don't know, maybe it's because his future's going to be sorted and he looks like he's off to Milan, but I was glad he and we got that Divock moment yesterday. He loves the goal against Everton, loves it. And it was genius, absolutely genius by Jurgen Klopp to bring him on, because, you know, you look at the bench and you're thinking, all right, maybe there are other options there, but he just knew Klopp. Divock loves the goal against Everton. Get him on that pitch and he'll cause trouble. He gave him something to think about, maybe aerially as well. So maybe Divock will have a moment in these semi-finals, who knows. But right now, that's the 11 that I hope takes the pitch on Wednesday. And 2-0 is my predicted score as well. And look, whatever happens at the Madrigal will happen. But yeah, that's my team. That's my prediction. I'm going to see what you guys think in the chat. And let me just swap back over scenes really quick. Right, my friends, let's see who we got. I go for Divock Origi up top. I mean, I think this might be a bit of recency bias here. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say to you. I mean, I understand the shouts for Divock, but it is right time, right moment, right man. And maybe with 20 to go in the away leg, it's right time, right moment, right man for Divock. But I wouldn't be starting him. I don't think he's not as impactful when he starts, is he? He's more of an impact player when he comes on. Divock loves a semi. We all love a semi. It's like, here, let's be honest, mate. We all love a semi. I think every time Thiago takes to the pitch, there are many of us grown men around the world who have rather strange, conflicting feelings when we see that man playing football. Hope Bobby will be available, said Rav. Yeah, it's been weird not having Bobby available for the last couple of games. And obviously we haven't seen Takumi Minamino involved in matchday squads too much recently, or Harvey Elliott. So again, the questions are going to be, will those two gentlemen be in Jurgen Klopp's reckoning or thinking for the matchday squads? Now remember, we'll have bigger benches, 5 substitutes allowed in the Champions League, so Klopp will have, I think, is it 9 at his disposal on the bench? Good team selection, Craig. I would go with him, said Scotty. What's your score prediction for the other semi? Yeah, that's a tricky one. Ultimately, I think City will get past Real Madrid. I think at the Etihad, I think I'll be out 3-1, something like that, to Manchester City tomorrow at the Etihad. And Real Madrid, although 2 goals down with my reckoning, will still think that they can turn that around at the Bernabeu with the atmosphere behind them, maybe with the, I don't want to say intimidation of referees, because that's not what I mean, but we all know, we're around long enough to know that in big moments in football, big stadiums like the Bernabeu, like Anfield, like Old Trafford, like the Nou Camp, they come into play. They come into play in decision making and 50-50 moments and stuff. So I think Madrid, once they're still in with a shout, will fancy their chances at the Bernabeu in the second leg. But maybe it's more wishful thinking from me, because I'd much prefer to play Real Madrid if we made it to the final in Manchester City. Partly because I want revenge, but partly because I genuinely think we'd match them up quite well. Kevin said, I can see City Madrid being 2-2. Hamza said 1-1. Who do you guys want in the final? I mean, it's all very well and good me sitting here saying who I like, but who would you guys prefer in the final? Real Madrid, Manchester City? This probably comes across really arrogant to other people watching this, me just going, who would you prefer in the final? Like, we're there already, but we're in with a shout, so we should be talking about it at least. Michael Manning thinks Real Madrid will beat Manchester City. Hamza has a feeling Madrid will beat City and it'll be Liverpool-Madrid in Paris. The biggest threat from Villarreal will be Danjuma, because he's one of our transfer targets and he'll do his best to impress Klopp, said Big Sam. I don't get the Danjuma thing. Not that I don't get why we'd be looking at him, because he looks like a very, very, very good player. What I don't get is, if we were interested in Danjuma, why we would have allowed him to go to Villarreal, because we could have bought him when Villarreal bought him from Bournemouth at a reasonable fee. Now we'd probably have to pay double that again 1 year down the line. So I don't understand the mindset there. I think we should, if we had a genuine interest in him, and I don't think that interest will remain because we signed Luis Diaz, I think we should have done it when he was at Bournemouth. Feel like City would be a different beast in the final. Yeah, I don't know how they'd react. Obviously, they have experience of a Champions League final, having lost to Chelsea, so there isn't that, will they be a rabbit caught in the headlights kind of thing that, you know, you do hope for with first-time finalists when you play against them. So yeah, I don't know if that'll be a plus or a negative. So Jen wants Real Madrid. John goes Real Madrid, Liverpool. Joanne said it'd be great City and beat them in the final. Yes, it would be amazing, Joanne, but on the flip side of that, can you imagine the headache? Shall we not beat them in the final? That would be very difficult to take, Joanne. I won't lie, that would be very difficult to take. Danjuma rumours look rubbish in my opinion. I think they'll probably be stoked up even more over the coming couple of weeks, because we know Spanish clubs love to brief the media about players that we are interested in or they are interested in bringing to them to try and destabilise English clubs a little bit around Champions League games. It happens all the time. The Danjuma stuff does go back a summer, but again, my point is, could have got him when he was at Bournemouth. 1 year on, has he really changed that much as a player? I don't know, but again, I don't think there's anything to those stories anymore. I genuinely think it's going to be Danjuma going somewhere else or staying in Villarreal. So yeah, on PSG, did everybody see on PSG? It looks like that Pochettino's about to get the sack. It looks like Antonio Conte wants the PSG job, and then it looks like Daniel Levy has been apparently rumoured to be speaking to Mauricio Pochettino about trying to bring him back to Spurs. That would be pretty weird, wouldn't it? The manager that you've sacked and gotten in Conte now wants the PSG job by the looks of it, and you're begging the manager you sacked to come back again. Very strange behaviour, but infinitely Spurs. And Messi, by the way, looks like he's going to stay on a PSG for another season. Mbappe, well, we think he'll potentially move on. And it looks like PSG have finally realised what I've been telling you guys for the last 4 or 5 years, that Neymar is an absolute waste of space and that they want rid of him. So if they can find somebody, and I'm looking at you here, Manchester United, if they can find somebody stupid enough to pay the money for Neymar, they would happily move him on, I think. So again, I'm looking at you here, United. I think this drama with Conte will do us good when we play them. I said this to Connor last night. I almost respect the ballsiness of Conte because he just does not give a shit, does he? Like, I'm at Spurs in a £1 billion stadium, living in London, making a very good wage, have a team that could potentially be in the Champions League next season. But no. I want that PSG job. I want to be the one that delivers them a Champions League title. I almost respect the ballsiness of it. I do, because Conte's a 2-year, 3-year manager at the best of times, and you know, if you get 2 or 3 years at PSG, you're very fortunate. So yeah, I almost respect the shithousery there from Conte. He's like, I know I have this, and this is cool, this is alright, I'm alright with this, but Paris, you say? You know what I mean? Paris? Yeah, it's imagine that was our manager. Oh my god, our heads would be falling off, and rightly so. Neymar back to Barca. Oh, surely they're not stupid enough to pay. There was one thing actually that did catch my eye though when I was reading the PSG story. So we often scoff at why they signed Lionel Messi or why they signed aging players. One part of the story that stood out for me that I read today was that since Paris Saint-Germain have signed Lionel Messi, they've gotten 9 new commercial partners, one of them paying over €50 million. I think it was a footwear brand called Goat or something like that. Paid about €50 million. So when you bring somebody of the ilk of Messi or Mbappe or these type of players in, sometimes those extra sponsorships can be the thing maybe that help you with the wages or the transfer fees. And, you know, if they brought in 9 new sponsors, and one of them's paying out 50 million, then you can start to understand potentially how these deals become viable. And it kind of got me thinking about, isn't that something Liverpool should maybe explore? You know, for the likes of an Mbappe thing or something like that. Again, just me thinking out loud. Am I going to the semi-final? No, I'm not, mate. I don't know, as I said this before on the channel, I don't know if I'll ever go back to Anfield again. Still have to decide on that one. Yeah, I don't know if I ever will or won't. I'm just, even the lads I know that are going there, we're still having to pay through the nose for tickets, and it's not that I don't think there's value in going to watch Liverpool, it's that I just refuse these days. I've had so many years of paying travel agent fees to travel over to watch Liverpool games, and then coming back and look at my family in the eye and just thinking, what I just spent there on that weekend in Liverpool, I could have brought us to Spain for a week or something like that. So, yeah, it's very difficult for me as a father with kids and a wife to justify not only spending so much time on the channel, of course, but to then just spend a whole lot of money going over watching Liverpool and knowing I'm getting fleeced to do it. It just doesn't sit right with me. Can you show me the starting 11? Absolutely, my man. 2 seconds. So that's my predicted 11 and score prediction for those that may be coming in a little bit late. So Alisson in goal. I've gone for Costas at left back just because I think his attributes will suit the game against Villarreal. Not because Robbo did that wrong. I mean, Robbo was brilliant. Got himself a fantastic goal against Everton. But he might do with a little rest as well, Robbo, as we look into the busy end of the season. And we don't really get much of a chance to rest fullbacks. And I'm not saying rest a fullback in the Champions League semi-final is the only reason. I just think Costas' attributes will help us maybe break down what could be a very well-drilled, stubborn Villarreal side. Trent obviously at right back. Centre-backs, Canade's pace was the deciding factor for me there, alongside Van Dijk. Then Fabinho, Jordan Henderson and Thiago in midfield with Diaz, Mane and Salah. That's the 11 that I'd like to see. Goomy said, Craig, treat yourself to a game a season. Yeah, I was supposed to go over, Goomy, as I'm sure you probably remember, when it was it February, I think I was supposed to go over, or January. But COVID was a bit rife at the time. My daughter was sitting her mock exams, which are, you know, the practice exams before her final exams in school. And my wife just didn't want me potentially bringing COVID back into the house. I think Paddy had just come back and gotten COVID in Liverpool as well, if my memory's right. And it just kind of spooked Sabrina a little bit. And I understood it, of course, so we didn't go over. But don't worry, the ticket didn't get wasted. I gave the ticket to somebody. I feel like Klopp will want City more. I don't know. Look, it's Man City, Real Madrid. I mean, it's not going to be a gimme, is it? Whoever you get in the final. You can make valid arguments as to why both are going to be, you know, extremely difficult opponents. On one side, you have Real Madrid's pedigree and their very, very experienced midfield and a striker who right now is probably the best in world football through the centre in Karim Benzema. On top of that, you've got a manager in Carlo Ancelotti who's been there and done it many times versus Pep, Manchester City, and in my opinion, one is a better squad than Real Madrid's, but maybe without that muscle memory of getting over the line and lifting the European Cup. So it's a difficult one either way when we look at who we may play in the final. It's not going to be easy, is it? They're both, you know, great teams for varying reasons. Paddy will be there in tonight's video. No, he's not home in time yet, Hamza. His flight doesn't get in till late tonight, so it'll be myself and Chris on tonight's video. Paddy will be back from tomorrow. Respect to you for looking out for your family. It's just difficult, Alex, man. It's difficult to I tell you, a lot of things have been difficult for me lately, mate. Like, I look around at some other content creators and I just wonder where the fuck they get the time to do it all from. You know, even if you're full time at it, I just wonder, like, I value my family time massively. Like, it's more important to me than anything else. My wife and kids are my world, so being able to spend time with them is more important to me than making more money on the channel or doing a bit more work. It just means a lot to me, so I kind of have to try and balance it out. Which is difficult because, you know, I'd love to do 8 hours of streaming a day and make Anfield Agenda even bigger and maybe make myself even, you know, more well known, but it's about work-life balance, isn't it? Well, I say work-life, but you get what I mean. It's about a balance. How does Paddy get all these tickets? He pays for them. And I don't mean that in a smart arse way. He pays a premium. Now, I don't want to tell you what he pays for his tickets. That's the man's own business, but he has a contact, and like many people who have some contacts these days, you pay what they ask for the ticket. Now look, man's not out there paying 500 quid a ticket, but you know, he pays for them quite simply, and that's how he gets the tickets. But as I said, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with not that I don't agree with that. I've had two maybe face value tickets in 30 plus trips to Liverpool. So yeah, not for me. I don't want to feed the touts basically either. Would you take Verratti at Liverpool? I am a huge fan of Marco Verratti. You go back maybe 3-4 years ago and watch some Anfield Agenda videos. I was talking about Marco Verratti being my dream midfield signing at any club. He does have injury issues, but he's one of the most complete midfielders for me that I've seen on a football pitch in the last 10 years. He's phenomenal, Marco Verratti. So probably not because of the injury, but as a footballer, he's up there for me. I do like him now. Man's no Thiago Alcantara, but opinions on Alisson winding up Pickford. Warren, me old man. That was one of my favourite Alisson moments of all time, buddy. You know, the header wins, obviously, but Alisson taking the piss out of Jordan Pickford. I mean, I love it. Keepers are loopers at the best of times. They're just a different breed. They're wired differently. And I love that Alisson. I didn't think he had it in him. I didn't think he had the banter levels in him, but it was brilliant, wasn't it? Absolutely brilliant. Paddy is a secret billionaire. That much I can tell you, he definitely isn't, mate. He definitely isn't. Would you take Nunes from Benfica? Said Yano. Yup. Seeing links to Liverpool from Uruguay today. Yeah, so look, I think a lot of us would say yes initially to the answer of would we take Nunes as a footballer. And look, I'm not the font of knowledge on him like maybe others are, but from the little bits I've seen of him, there's something there. Some players have it, and he has it. I don't know what it is, but he's got the attributes. He's got the work rate. He's got the height. He's got the passion. He's got that Uruguayan tough streak in him. So yes, I would love to see somebody like him at Liverpool, particularly if Divock was moving on. But I'll caveat that by saying not at the 113 million bracket that I've seen priced around that maybe Benfica will want from. But like if Divock was to move on and you brought in him, that would be pretty amazing. But can't see it happening. But yes, I would take him. What's happening with Chamberlain? Said Scotty. It looks like the ground has been laid for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain to move on in the summer. Where he goes, I haven't got a clue. How much for? I haven't got a clue. But what I would say is, so Alex and Perry obviously have a child now. Stability will be important in their life, and I will think that he will be looking at maybe this to be his last move in football. So, I'm sure he'll want to put down roots with his family and set up home somewhere. So look, wherever it is, I think Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain deserves the right to choose his own future. He's got 1 year left on his Liverpool contract. Liverpool will have a number, I'm sure, that they would like to get for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I don't know what that number is, but ultimately, I just hope it works out for everyone. I've nothing against Chamberlain whatsoever. I think he seems like one of life's good guys, and just hasn't worked out in the last couple of years at Liverpool. But we did have an important part to play in our rebuilding of the football club. His role in that season where Coutinho left was very important. So yeah, I think he moves on, but I don't know where, I don't know how much. We can't sell Ox, he's too important to us. He's got 1 year left though, so it's sell or commit to another 3 or 4 years. So I don't think we give him a new contract when Keita, for instance, would be where my money would be going on that new contract of a midfielder. How much did Alex cost us? If my memory's right, Alex, I think it was about £40 million from Arsenal. If my memory's right, I think it was about that much. I remember Arsenal fans for ages saying like that they'd robbed us blind. I never felt that way. I always thought it was a fair price for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain at the time, and I still think looking back at it, it was a fair price. $35 is what Rev said. There you go, 35, 40, we're not a million miles away. But yeah, that was a fair fee at the time. He seems like he's been around forever though, doesn't he, Chamberlain? Remember him breaking through at Southampton and hearing about his move to Arsenal, and I think he was 16, 17 at the time, and yeah, he just seems to be around a long time. Your brother passed away yesterday. Zakir, I'm so sorry about that, mate. Fucking hell, man. I want to say to you, buddy, extremely sorry to hear that. What else have we got? Heard Liverpool are linked with Gavi. Yes, I inquired about Gavi a few weeks ago to a journalist who's a friend of mine in Spain. And I think, as I said at the time, the answer I got back was that Barcelona have made a contract offer to Gavi. And the phrase was drawing a line in the sand to say this is how much we can afford to pay you. I think they were dealing with Ronald Araujo at the time as well, trying to get him a contract renewal, and that Xavi very much wants to keep Gavi at Barcelona. I think initially the player would want to stay with Barcelona, but he is aware as well that he probably has a value in the market at the minute, even at just 17 years of age. For me, I'd leave him at Barcelona. I think it's the right place for him, his development at this moment in time. Maybe when he learns to tie his laces, we could bring him to Liverpool. But right now, he's a good footballer. He's certainly not the finished product. You just have to watch Barcelona recently. I mean, I watched the game last night against Rayo Vallecano, which they lost 1-0 somehow at home at the Nou Camp. And Gavi has flashes of brilliance, but he's a lot. There's a lot to do, a lot to finish there with Gavi, and I think personally he should stay at Barcelona. TMC, you nearly got my name right, buddy. I just missed one letter, but we're close. We're close. Thoughts on Danjuma, yes or no? I don't think there's any need for Danjuma now. We brought in Luis Diaz. I think, we were looking at Danjuma at the time when we were looking for an attacking wide player. We've got that attacking wide player in Luis Diaz. So Danjuma, great player. I remember watching him playing against United in the Champions League for Villarreal and being very impressed by him. And I do keep an eye on who scores goals around Europe and stuff as well, and he's done alright, Danjuma. He has, but I just don't think we need him. Any updates on Bobby? I'll try and have something for you, Perfection, for the 8:45 show, mate. So I'm back on tonight with Chris, and I'll try and have something ready for you on that one. Can you see Taki being moved on with Fabio coming in? 100%, Kevin. I mean, look, surely it's telling that we're not seeing Takumi Minamino in and around the matchday squads now. And I'm alright with that. I was always alright with it. Even at the time, what was it, £7.25 million, something like that, when we bought him from Salzburg. You're going to turn a profit on him one way or the other. And we know Klopp won't keep players at the club just for the sake of it. But we also know that Liverpool will have a valuation on their players that should they want to move on, or the club look to move them on, they want their valuation met. I don't know what the club would value Takumi Minamino at, but I would say confidently we should easily see 15 to 20 million, if not more. I remember when we were buying them, United were willing to pay more and they didn't know about the buyout clause like Liverpool did, unfortunately for them. Would you rather Nunez for 40 million-ish or Mbappe Haaland for 100 million? For me, as a football fan, if Liverpool can afford the fee, I don't care what the fee is. So I just look at straight out what players would I prefer, Warren, and I would prefer Mbappe than any of the other ones you've listed there. Taki was always a profit buy. And look, maybe, us as fans live in this idealistical world where we want everyone to be brilliant, but, football is a business, and Chelsea have been excellent at that kind of bringing players in, loaning them out, moving them on, making a profit. I mean, they've turned quite a healthy profit from doing that. So, any reason for Hendo over Naby? Yes, I believe it's the style of game that will suit Jordan Henderson more. Naby KD yesterday against an Everton team that defended deep, that were really compact, that left us no space between the lines. The midfield and the defence were no more than 5 to 10 yards away from each other really at any one time. I don't think that lent to Naby Keita's excellence, which is really breaking up play high up the pitch when teams were in possession, finding that little bit of space between the lines to maybe try and play 1-2s around the edge of the box. It didn't really work for him against Everton. In my opinion, I'm not saying he had a bad game. I'm just saying we weren't able to see his attributes as well as I would like to see them. So I think maybe Henderson, just for the delivery from wide areas if needs be, is kind of where I'm thinking. And I also thought in the first half against Everton, we lacked a bit of motivation on the pitch, a bit of leadership. It was very one-dimensional, very slow-paced. And I don't think it would have been that way if Henderson was out there to drive the lads on and be a bit more vocal. So, yeah, that's kind of my thinking, really. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but... how about Elliott? Look, I mean, I'd have Elliott in every squad, mate. I love Harvey Elliott. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on now with him. Whether maybe the club feel like after the Flair incident or some social media stuff, maybe they feel like they need to just remind him of his responsibilities as a professional footballer and as a role model. I don't know. I don't want to second guess what the club are doing there, but ultimately I trust that there's a reason for Klopp to be keeping him out of the matchday squads, and I trust the manager. So whatever that reason is, I'm sure Kloppo has his thought process, and yeah, Klopp knows what he's at. He's a good man manager. Not sure why people get so worried if Costas plays for Robbo. We're so fortunate to have a quality left. That's my thinking exactly, Rav. The reason we got two left backs was to be able to rotate them at times or use their attributes that are suited towards different types of teams. And I think that for this game, for me, and look, I'm just a a fan. I'm not a coach or anything. I like the idea of Costas' attributes for this game, particularly with his willingness to try and get to the byline and whip in crosses. That's it. I've explained it 3 times now during this video and people are still asking me about it. It's just, I think Costas will get to the byline more. Robbo cuts inside too much and if Villarreal sit back and defend deep, I think it'll become too predictable and again very difficult for us to break through. The only actual joy I can remember in the first half yesterday, and when the game became a bit more stretched, Robbo obviously had a bit more influence on it, but in the first half yesterday, the only time I can remember Robbo really having any joy was when he didn't even go fully to the byline, but he went around the outside of his fullback, I think it was Coleman, and then whipped it back to Jota, who pulled the shot wide at the near post. But it was the only real joy I remember Robbo getting in the first half yesterday. And I remember thinking to myself, this is why I'd want Costas in these type of games, because of that wonderful whip delivery of his from wide areas. So yeah, again, maybe I'm overthinking it. It's certainly not because I don't like Andy Robertson. I love the man. He's brilliant. But yeah, that's my thinking. Anyway, look, I'm going to leg it, but I'll be back at 8:45 tonight, myself and Chris, and we'll go through more reflection from the Everton game. Remember, Chris was there yesterday, so I'll be asking him what it was like at the game and if he's seen any of the crowd disturbances. We'll be looking ahead to the game against Villarreal. We'll talk transfers and everything else as well. So look, I'll see you guys at 8:45 tonight. This week we will be on Twitch on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So the Real Madrid game tomorrow, I'll be on from 7:20. The Liverpool game obviously on Wednesday, I'll be on from 7:15. And then for the West Ham game on Thursday, about 7:30. So look, I will see you guys at 8:45. Thank you guys for tuning in.